Have you ever opened up Notion, stared at a blank, rigid database, and just felt completely overwhelmed? You are definitely not alone in that. It's a harsh reality. But for most people, databases are the exact reason they quit Notion entirely. I mean, an endless grid of empty cells doesn't really look like a fun productivity tool, right? It looks like a demanding spreadsheet begging you to do more work. But what if we could actually flip that script? What if, instead of stressing you out, your database could essentially organize itself? We're talking about transforming it from a cluttered mess into a beautifully streamlined dashboard that genuinely pulls you in and makes you want to get things done. Welcome to this explainer. I am so incredibly excited to guide you through this today because we're taking the raw, kind of intimidating power of Notion databases and giving them a complete visual makeover. We're going to dive into the advanced visual settings that take your workspace from a chaotic filing cabinet straight to a sleek, modern command center. Okay, let's take a quick look at our roadmap. First, taming database overwhelm. Second, customizing property visibility. Third, the power of grouping. Fourth, conditional color formatting. And finally, maintaining a clean workspace. Let's dive right in. Section 1, taming database overwhelm. Just look at this stark contrast here. On the left, we've got the raw table. Having all your tasks from a million different projects stacked in this random vertical list causes massive cognitive overload. It just takes way too much mental energy to figure out what you're even looking at. But then, look on the right. That is our goal, a visual dashboard. It's color-coded, it's logically grouped, and those messy grid lines are totally hidden. It breathes, you know? It just instantly lowers your stress levels. There's a great analogy that hits the nail right on the head. Notion is like an empty apartment you furnish yourself. Unlike other apps that force you into their pre-built layout, which, let's be honest, is kind of like moving into a generic, fully furnished hotel room, Notion gives you the blank walls. Sure, it demands a little upfront effort to arrange the furniture exactly how you like it, but once you do, the entire space bends to your unique habits, not the other way around. So, how do we start furnishing this apartment? Section 2, customizing property visibility. Look, every database has properties, right? Dates, statuses, tags, relations to other projects, but you absolutely do not need to see all of them all the time. To make a table user-friendly, you've got to be ruthless about what stays on the screen. Keep only the essentials visible: the task name, a checkbox, the status, and maybe a due date. Everything else, those messy back-end relations, the tags, the metadata you check maybe once a month, hide them. Just go into the settings and toggle their visibility off. They're still there in the background doing their job, but they stop crowding your visual field. And here are 2 super quick formatting tricks that are literal game changers. First, turn off wrap columns. If a task name is really long, wrapping it forces the entire row to expand vertically, which makes your list look jagged and chaotic. Turning it off keeps every row a nice, uniform height. Second, hide those vertical grid lines. By ditching those harsh gray dividers, your database instantly stops looking like a scary spreadsheet and starts looking like a clean, modern list. Now that we've cleaned up the mess, it's time to restructure. Section 3, the power of grouping. Let's look at how this builds step by step. Instead of staring at an endless, overwhelming list of tasks, we're going to tell Notion to organize the data for us. Just click into your database settings, select the group option, and group your tasks by status. Oh, and a quick pro tip, definitely make sure to click Hide Empty Groups so you aren't staring at a useless blank category taking up your screen space. Boom! Instantly, your list transforms into something like this. It conceptually mimics a Kanban board, a lot like Trello. Now, instead of your brain panicking and asking, what are all the things I have to do, it can easily parse the information. Okay, here's what I haven't started, here's what's currently in progress, and here's what I'm already done with. It's the exact same data, just presented in a way that aligns perfectly with how we actually process work. But it actually gets better. These groups also act as toggle lists. Let's say you have 50 completed tasks piling up in your done group. You definitely don't want to scroll past those every single day. By just clicking the toggle arrow next to the group name, you collapse the whole section. This is an absolute lifesaver, especially if you're using the Notion mobile app where screen real estate is super precious. You keep all the data, but you reclaim your visual space. Okay, moving on to my absolute favorite part of this whole explainer, Section 4, Conditional Color Formatting. If you really want to make your database user-friendly, you have to add a little bit of joy to it. If you're an Excel or Google Sheets veteran, you probably know this as conditional formatting. Basically, it's a feature where you set up a rule, and when a task meets that rule, Notion automatically changes the background color of that specific row. But unlike the clunky older spreadsheet software, Notion makes setting this up beautifully visual and incredibly intuitive. Here is the exact setup you should go steal for your own workspace right now. Jump into your database settings, click on the New Color option, and add a rule. Set the condition to look at your checkbox property. The rule is super simple. If the checkbox is checked, then set the background color to green. Why does this matter? Because by setting up this one simple automation, you are literally gamifying your task list. When you finally finish a tough piece of work, you click that empty checkbox, and instantly, the entire row lights up in a satisfying celebratory green. It gives you this immediate psychological reward, a little dopamine hit that actually makes you want to tackle the next task just to see it turn green too. It completely transforms a static database into an interactive, highly rewarding experience. Now, building this beautiful, grouped, color-coded dashboard is amazing, but digital spaces tend to get messy over time, right? Which brings us to our final step, Section 5, maintaining a clean workspace. I highly recommend doing routine digital cleanups. Think of it like taking out the trash in that apartment we furnished earlier. Take a few minutes every week or month to update your database templates. If you aren't using a property in a template anymore, delete it. Clear out the clutter from your favorite sidebars so you only see what's currently relevant to you. And please go ahead and delete those random empty draft pages you created by accident. These tiny maintenance habits guarantee your workspace stays fast and completely distraction-free. Here is a massive pro tip from Notion expert Marie Poulin on how to handle things when you're completely finished with them. Do not, I repeat, do not drag old projects into a separate archive folder or database. When you move an item out of its original database, you break all that rich metadata and those relationships you just worked so hard to build. Instead, just change the project's status property to archive. Because we're already grouping and filtering our views by status, that project will instantly disappear from your active dashboard, but it stays safely tucked away in the database, preserving all its data for whenever you might need it again. And as you maintain your system, always keep mobile in mind. A complex dashboard that looks fantastic on a giant widescreen monitor is going to require endless, frustrating scrolling on your phone. The secret to a mobile-friendly layout is aggressively using those toggle elements we talked about earlier. Hide your grouped tasks, tuck away those large blocks of text into toggles, and keep your mobile view strictly focused on exactly what you need while you're on the go. At the end of the day, the most crucial takeaway is this. The best system is simply the one you actually return to daily. It honestly doesn't matter how many complex relations or formulas you build if the database is so visually overwhelming that you actively avoid looking at it. By hiding properties, ditching the grid lines, grouping tasks by status, and adding that incredibly satisfying green color pop for your completed tasks, you remove all the friction. You make the system an actual joy to use. We've covered a lot of ground in this explainer today, turning what used to be a terrifying spreadsheet into a highly tailored, visually satisfying dashboard. The tools are right there waiting for you. So I'll leave you with this. Looking at your own setup right now, how will you redesign your workspace today? What properties are you going to hide? And what colors will you add to make your daily tasks feel less like a chore and way more like a win? Get in there, furnish your apartment, and enjoy your brand new visual workspace.